Hi, my name is Jennifer Nanny, and I'm the Director of Alumni Relations here at UNT Health Science Center. Today, I'm joined by TCOM Alumna, Dr. Adams. Thank you so much for joining us today. And before we get started, how are you doing?
I'm good, good. Thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing well, just hanging in there, getting used to COVID and everything.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for taking the time to meet with us today. We just want to learn a little bit more about you. So if you wouldn't mind starting off by telling us, when did you graduate, where did you complete your residency and your fellowship, and how long have you been in practice?
Sure. I graduated from TCOM in 2009, and then I did an anatomical and clinical pathology residency at the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio, which I completed in 2013. And then I did forensic pathology fellowship at UT Southwestern / Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office in Dallas from 2013 to 2014. And I've been in practice since then. So I've been practicing as a big girl, in my big girl role for about 6 years now.
That's awesome. And a medical examiner, I'm sure that keeps you very, very busy. So
it does.
So how did TCOM prepare you for residency and beyond? And did TCOM prepare you for your board exams?
As far as board exams go, I definitely feel like I didn't learn how to study for board type exams and truly study for board type exams until I was in medical school. And I really, at that time, learned the value of using practice questions and question banks and taking practice tests and then reviewing all of the answers, but also just having really a group of people that I never really had study groups like I had before medical school either. I ended up having several really close friends that I was able to study with, and we learned how to teach each other things and quiz each other things and go through things with each other. And that was a very, very useful tool, both when it came to studying for board type exams and just studying for anything pertaining to class. And I think with that, it helped with residency. Obviously, you have to take boards in residency and other types of exams in residency. And learning how to study and collaborate with others was definitely helpful as far as that goes. And in medical school, getting to rotate through all of the different specialties, you definitely get the opportunity to learn the roles as well as the limitations of other specialties, so that when you're in residency and you're focused more on, in my case, pathology, you get an understanding of what the other specialties need from you, as well as what you can expect from them, based on, just what you've learned from being able to work with each of those types of individuals.
Sounds like a very good, well-rounded education helped you.
Yes. Yes.
So if going back a little bit, when you were making the decision on where to go to medical school, what made TCOM stand out, and why did you choose to go to TCOM?
So I had no idea what osteopathic medicine was until I was a freshman in college, and it was like a career day. It may have been a pre-med type day, but I think it was like a career day, and representatives from TCOM had a booth set up. And at that time, I had no idea what it was, and so I stopped and I talked to them a little bit and got a few answers, but they gave me a flyer which I held on to, and the flyer actually contained information on how to attend a campus information meeting and tour, which I got to attend that summer after my freshman year in college. And so I got to spend a day at TCOM and learn about osteopathic medicine, learn about TCOM just in general, and got to tour the campus. And I really loved the more like family type atmosphere. I loved the smaller class size, but more than anything, I really just loved I loved the principles and foundation of osteopathic medicine. And so, of course, I applied to lots of other medical schools, primarily all the other state schools in Texas, and went on multiple interviews during the application process. And that whole time I just knew like TCOM is the place for me. It's by far my favorite.
Thank goodness you picked up that flyer freshman year.
Yes,
completely
for sure.
differently. Thank you for sharing. So
Of course.
when you think about your time at TCOM, I know that there are hundreds of memories that you have, but if you could name your favorite memory, what would you say it was from your medical school career?
It's so hard. I mean, there's so much besides like the lifelong friends that I had, and the good times that we had together and studied together and acted silly together. There's one though that I always like go back to that reminds me just kind of how much of like a close-knit group we were, and could still be silly and have fun even during class. And unfortunately, this memory is about one of my classmates who's now deceased, but was a very good friend of mine. And he was one of those that was very more on the quiet, kind of reserved side, very like mannerful, respectful, but he was funny. He had a very like dry sense of humor about him. And it was our first year in medical school, and we'd had to do some kind of like small group presentations or something, and we'd all gotten together and then so you had to stand up in front of the rest of the class in the big auditorium and like go through the presentation in your small group, and then had to like answer questions after that. My friend, he'd put a syringe of water in his pocket, and so while we were standing up there, he pressed the syringe and like started making it look like he was wetting his pants while we were standing in the front of the auditorium. And it was just one of those like very like, only, not everybody obviously noticed it, but then as people started noticing and giggling, like it was just such a good like comic relief break. And it wasn't something that got anyone in trouble or whatever, but the whole class, it's something that we can like remember him by, and we're able to like do things like that even in a serious like classroom type situation.
Yeah, that's hilarious. And I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in that. I will say it's always enjoyable for me to hear about all the different things that happen in class, because from kids playing, not kids, but the students playing pranks and whatnot, and some of the professors doing it too. It's just very entertaining. So
it really is. I mean, I think growing up, you think of medical school as being such a serious endeavor, and you just have to be so like serious and professional and whatever all the time. And it's things like that make you realize that we're all still human too.
Absolutely. And it's great to see some of that personality kind of come out as well, like just interacting with all of the different alumni. You can pinpoint who are some of the jokesters in the classes. That's
for sure.
Great. Well, I've asked you a lot of questions today, but the last one I will ask, if you could give advice to any incoming TCOM student, what would that advice be?
I think that advice probably goes back to kind of my answer to the last question, and that's to really remember why you are there. It's really easy to get caught up in, I got into medical school and, now I've got to be this and this and this and get all A's and I'm doing this with my life. And it's really easy to get caught up in the stress of having to study for exams, and just, it can be very, very overwhelming. And I think really, like, you have to remember that you're there because of your love of science and medicine, and your desire to help other humans in the long run. Because sometimes you can lose sight of that, and it's just about grades, and it's just about, you know, passing this test and passing that test and maybe doing better than somebody on this so that I can get into such and such residency. But it really, you have to be able to, like, take yourself seriously and remember we're all humans, and step back and remember, like, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing this. And this is the important part. And I'm going to do the best that I can. But I'm going to take it all in while I'm on the way, you know, along the way, rather than just like studying for an exam or studying to get this grade or get that grade. Like, just to take it in and enjoy it, and remember what brought you there in the first place.
I think that's great advice. It helps keep you grounded, I'm sure. So,
yes, for sure.
Were there any other questions that you, or I guess advice, or any questions that you maybe wanted to answer that I didn't ask that you would like to share?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We hope that you enjoyed this interview. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the alumni office at alumni@unthsc.edu. And we hope to see you on campus in the fall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.